To be playing Sega Genesis with bros. Now I'm gaming with some folks on the other side the globe. Used to go through a label if you trying to blow. Now people got more.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Your boy MagMongoSlade is here to talk about Impact from March the 24th, 2022. News and notes: Mahabali Shera apparently is back in Impact, and this is like his yearly pickup. He's like some kind of AAA baseball player who gets sent down to the minors, and every year they bring him back up to see if he learned anything. Chances are he ain't learned nothing. He'll get sent back again. But he's back, so I guess we're going to talk about him later. Somebody else left Impact. I forget who it was. It doesn't matter. I think it was Fat Ass Falaba. I think it was. Wasn't it Falaba? Whatever. Impact will be having a pay-per-view the same night as Ring of Honor, which is the same night as SmackDown, and it will be WrestleMania weekend. And I know WWE has had a huge problem with GCW and all these other smaller indies trying to capitalize off of WrestleMania and all the intrigue that WrestleMania brings to a town. They've been trying to stop all this leeching. Ain't nothing they could do about it, but they've been trying to stop it. I didn't think Impact was going to get involved in it, but they did. Is it a smart move? I don't know. It's a kind of a crowded market to do these things on these weekends. They're doing what is called the multiverse of matches. Okay. All right. All right, let's get into this show. So Josh Alexander says there's no going back, that Moose has crossed way over the line by going to his house and threatening his wife and son. He said now he's motivated now more than ever to make sure that Moose feels pain, loss, and disappointment. Moose then shows up and said that Josh Alexander failed to protect his family, so he's definitely going to fail to protect the world title and win it back. Then he says after Rebellion, he's going to make another trip to his home, where he's going to give his kid a real role model. Then there was this hefty pause before Josh Alexander jumped out of the ring to fight Moose, and they fought. And they fought, and they fought, and they fought. Fight. And then Josh Alexander was about to throw Moose off of a balcony on the roof of the building. He was about to kill him. He wanted the man to die. And then out of nowhere, oddly, good guy Madman Fulton shows up. And Madman Fulton talks Josh Alexander down and grabs him and allows Moose to escape. Scott D'Amore then says that, yes, I admit that Moose crossed the line, but you have also crossed the line. You just tried to murder this guy. You tried to kill him. And Josh Alexander does not care. So we're furthering the story of Josh Alexander, being a rage machine. And this is, just the temperature being turned up on that. That being said, though, they punished Madman Fulton by putting him in a match with Josh Alexander for saving Moose. Why do we... Wait a minute. If Josh Alexander would have thrown Moose off the top of that thing, he would have gone to jail, right? And then his family would have had to try to figure out how they were going to survive without him. And then he definitely wouldn't have got a title shot. And so shouldn't Fulton be rewarded for saving Josh Alexander from murdering Moose rather than being made to look like a goof? Like he's going to save this guy and now he wants to beat you up? I don't know, man. That's a bit silly to me, but it is what it is. Speedball Mike Bailey defeated Laredo Kid and Willie Mack to become a qualifier for the X Division Triple Threat match at Rebellion. This Speedball Mike Bailey thing, somebody tried to convince me that this guy was a star. Speedball Mike Bailey. And I said, okay, I haven't seen that much of him. The first time I really saw him was, I think, on Impact. And I've seen him a little bit in GCW of, what GCW I have seen lately, which hasn't been a lot. And he just does not seem to be an overly charismatic guy. And to me, I'm just kind of like, he's a star because you like him wrestling. I don't know, man. I don't know, and I don't care. At this point, I look at him, he look like a weirdo. And he got the Miz type haircut, but he doesn't have the Miz's charisma, and that's the important part. So sucks to be Mike Bailey, but hopefully he finds something and he turns it around. All right. Jay White complained and says that the Impact officials, just like the New Japan officials, have something against them. And Motor City Machine Gun should not be happy for that match and then wanted a rematch. Then they promised that they have the Good Brothers back in the Lumberjack match. Of course, that didn't mean anything because the Good Brothers lost. Violent by Design defeated the Good Brothers to maintain the Tag Team Championship. The OGK actually cost the Good Brothers the match by Mike Bennett climbing in the ring and hitting Doc Gallows in the balls, followed by Matt Taven coming in and doing something. And they got the pin. So we're going to go Honor No More versus Bullet Club. That seems to be the next angle that they're going with here. And that's fine. The only issue I have with this is that I thought the Bullet Club were heels. So we're going heel again. Because last time they just did this with Violent by Design, when Violent by Design were heels. And then the Good Brothers were heels. And then when they oppose one another, people kind of turn Violent by Design babyface. And so now we're going to do it again. And we're going to have, I'm guessing, the Good Brothers turn babyface? I don't understand. What's the point of this? I guess we'll get to it. I'm not thrilled about the OGK wrestling the Good Brothers. I can tell you that much. I mean, if you could take the two most, if you want to talk about the mega powers of people I don't really want to watch, Luke Gallows and Matt Taven. It's like the mega powers explode on Impact. They're the nexus of motherfuckers I don't want to watch. You know, like right at the crossroads of boring as fuck and boring as fuck but big is Luke Gallows and Matt Taven. You know, he is I and I am him. You know, it's like, oh boy, that's going to be thrilling stuff. Jesus. Anyway, moving on. This Singh guy brought back Mahabali Shira to beat up on Gujar. Who cares? Really, who cares? Steve Macklin said he's coming for all of his doubters, and this week it was Heath. He defeated Heath, and then he still got speared by Rhino. Macklin's still banging around. I don't know what he's doing, man. I don't know who's next, and I don't care. Then we got Tennille Dashwood. Tennille Dashwood is cradling her tag team championship like a baby. She's being interviewed by, because this is All About Me, her talk show. She's being interviewed by Caleb, who is the host. Caleb asks some softball questions, and then Tennille wants him to ask her what's on her mind. Once he does so, she wants to know what was his intentions when he slid that belt into the ring. Was it to help the influence or was it to help the inspiration? He says, oh yes, it was obviously to help you guys, but my neck hurts. He got out of there. He ran away. And as he was escaping, he stumbled into the locker room, which is the birthplace of locker room talk, which is Madison Rain's talk show. So then he stumbled into that, and Johnny Swinger is there. And Johnny Swinger says that Tony Atlas is teaching a footwork seminar. And it's an inside joke if you know about Tony Atlas and his foot fetish. It is so out of line for him to do. It is so out of line. But it fits perfectly into what Swinger's dungeon is. It's absolutely fantastic. So Caleb is trying to escape the locker room talk segment because Johnny Swinger is the co-host of Madison Rain. And Tennille Dashwood kind of pushes them back down. They ask him again, one more time, straight up, who is he trying to help? He says, I was trying to help you guys. I was trying to help the influence. Then they say, okay, great. That's great. We kind of figured that was the case, but now we're going to hook him up to this lie detector. And they went and got a lie detector, but it's not really a lie detector. It was like a oxygen thing that you put on somebody's finger to test the amount of oxygen is in their blood or in their pulse or whatever. And I'm guessing that could be used as a lie detector. I'm not sure, but I know what the thing is. And he flees again. He once again gets out of there. So they're still building this storyline with the inspiration and the influence around Caleb and his foolishness. Not a fan of that, but okay. It'll have to go how it goes. Tasha Steelz is cutting a promo in the back. She says that since Mickie James gave Chelsea Green the night off, she's going to give Savannah Evans the night off, and she doesn't really need Savannah Evans' help in order to beat Mickie James. Of course, that turns out not to be true because Savannah Evans interferes in the street fight anyway. It's a street fight, knockouts title, Mickie James and Tasha Steelz. Savannah Evans ended up getting put through a table. by Mickie James. It was pretty wild. It was pretty funny, man. Then the numbers game started to overwhelm her eventually, and Chelsea Green ran to the ring. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I know what's about to happen here. Chelsea's about to hit Mickie James with this chair and fuck her whole night up, cost her the women's championship. That's not what occurred. Instead, Chelsea Green had a chair. She put the chair down and then she sat in it and watched as Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans beat up on Mickie James. And she did nothing. She just watched them beat her and beat her and beat her. And then eventually they pinned her, and Tasha Steelz wins with the frog splash. After the match, Chelsea Green then berates Mickie James for not wanting her help. And Mickie James kind of looks up at her with these puppy dog eyes like, why didn't you help me? Why didn't you help me, Chelsea? Why didn't you help me? And Chelsea's giving her the riot act. Then from the bottom, Mickie James smacked her, and then they started to fight. And of course, because they were fighting, and Chelsea's the heel, she rolled out of the ring to get away from her because, she's not that good of a fighter. And then Mickie James, of course, is focused on Chelsea as Chelsea paces outside the ring, selling the couple of punches to the face that Mickie James is able to get away. Then when she turned around, there was Matt Cardona with the Ready Rider, or whatever the fuck he's calling it, his little leaping leg lariat, and he nails it on Mickie James. Then him and Chelsea Green, they pose for a little while. Then Chelsea Green bashes Mickie James in the head with the help of Matt Cardona, who lifted her up. Bashed her in the head with that cast. And then she snatches the cast off and slams it on the ground, showing that she was never really injured in the first place. And pretty wild. That was pretty wild stuff. Now, the Chelsea Green was never really injured in the first place. She spoiled that at a GCW show, or was it an NWA show? I forget which one it was. But she's already done this gimmick where she revealed that she wasn't really hurt. And she revealed it before this episode aired. So I kind of figured once she hit her with the cast and they made interest of the cast again, that she wasn't really hurt. So there that go. But as an angle it goes, it was fun, because I'm so used to, they just did this with Macklin, where you think that the guy is coming to help you, and instead he comes to help somebody else. They also just did this with Eddie Edwards. So it was an interesting twist that Chelsea Green just wanted to have the best seat in the house to watch Mickie James lose. And then to berate Mickie James for saying, you didn't want my help. You didn't want my help. You didn't need my help. And then to find out that she wasn't really hurt in the first place, that she did all of this just to avoid helping Mickie. So, this was fun. And, it brought Matt Cardona back. So this was all fun. I didn't mind this. Mickie James was always good. Her storylines were very well done. And it was written perfectly, because you have to realize Tasha Steelz can't lose the title back to Mickie. But Mickie needs to have something to do to divert her away from the title. So the Chelsea Green setup was very well done, and the transition was very well done as well. So it was a really good story. Unfortunately, this is going to lead to a tag team match. It's going to be Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green versus Nick Aldis and Mickie James. Well, I guess if you were the shipper type, you would call them Nikki, right? That would be their ship name, like Index or whatever. So I guess it's going to be at the multiverse of matches and not on, because I don't think Nick Aldis is ever going to come back on Impact. I think he's kind of done with the Impact thing. So it's very interesting. I didn't mind this. I thought this was a good main event. I thought they served their purpose, and it was fine. It was very well done. Eddie Edwards defeated Rocky Romero in a match that took entirely too long. I don't have any idea why people keep signing Rocky Romero to do stuff. He's boring. I know he's a lot of people. I know he's friends with a lot of the boys, but they need to understand. Consider the audience for a moment. Why do we want to see Rocky Romero? What can he do? Well, he can have good matches. What can he do, really? He can have good matches. You can't find somebody else that can have good matches? Why it gotta be Rocky Romero? Come on. After the match, Eddie Edwards started kicking Rocky Romero after the match. This led Jonathan Gresham to come down there to make the save. Jonathan Gresham has been doing some really good stuff lately. He won the Progress World title, which very interesting because Progress is on the WWE Network. And I heard that the network has actually been cutting out the ROH title matches that he's been having that appeared on the programs that air on the network. So he's been on, I guess, a couple of WXW shows I haven't watched, and a Progress or show or two that I haven't watched. And I guess they've been cutting the ROH stuff off of there. I don't know. Let me know if you know in the comment section below. If you're listening to this, you probably know a little bit more about it than I do. It's also very interesting because Cara Noir, who is the Progress World Champion, is going to be wrestling Ilya Dragunov and at the Progress Anniversary show. And it seemed to me like they was setting up for something important between the two of them. Maybe the NXT UK title will be on the line, and Cara Noir will actually be coming over to NXT UK finally. Maybe, maybe not. Can I hope? Okay. Let's move on though. You see, what else we got? No more Rocky Romero. Zicky Dice, because this is the end, unfortunately. Swingers Dungeon. Zicky Dice is thrilled with Swingers Dungeon. He talked about how intense it was, and he saw people getting stretched in there, and he's willing to pay. He gave Swinger some money and said, "Let me back in. Please let me back in." And Swinger said, "Look, no. Me and you got to do some one-on-one. I got to gauge your skills. I got to make sure you have the right aptitude, daddy, to make it in Swingers Dungeon. I got to make sure you're on their level, daddy. So me and you." And so Zicky Dice, who is significantly smarter than Johnny Swinger. Johnny Swinger doesn't know he's running a sex club. He doesn't know that. He thinks it's a wrestling school. No, it's a sex club. He doesn't know that though. Zicky Dice knows it's a sex club. So he's like, so me and you in there? And then Swinger was like, "Oh, no way, daddy. Me and you in the ring as a tag team." Then he says, "I found chumps. Chump A and Chump B. He's going to call it the Chump Challenge." So Swinger and Zicky Dice are going to be a tag team. And you know what? I fucking hate Zicky Dice. He fucking sucks. He blows. He's boring. But this could be fun. Because they fit as characters. They're two throwback characters. So this could actually work. Zicky Dice has showed me little to nothing in all of the incarnations I've seen him in. But he could work if he could play off a Swinger. Him and Swinger could be a really fun tag team. Because Zicky Dice doesn't, at least he's not afraid to look stupid on TV. So he's at least going to buy in and do fun stuff with Johnny Swinger. So this could be fun. Two guys using throwback gimmicks, where Zicky Dice is kind of like a guy from the 80s, and Johnny Swinger's like a wrestler from the 80s. So this could be very, very fun. The dungeon stuff, really good. I'm loving this, man. I like the dungeon shit. The dungeon shit is very good. So it's really the only thing outside of the Mickie James storylines, which is always the best. Mickie James has had the best storylines and Impact since the Honor No More thing got derailed. And hell, to be quite honest, since before Honor No More even happened, Mickie James has been ruling Impact. She's been really doing a good job of at least making sure her stuff is very good. That's awesome. So the last thing I guess is, I guess it's a note I should have mentioned before, but Deonna Purrazzo has said that she is unsure what her role in the new Ring of Honor is. She just says, "Hey, if they call me to defend the title, I'll do it." I think I probably did talk about this maybe on Dynamite, where I said she was still unsure about what her role was. And to be quite honest, she hasn't been booked yet for the Supercard of Honor show. At least I don't think she has. Maybe she has and I just don't know it yet. But I don't think anything with her has been announced yet. So, well, there that go. But let me know what you guys think of the Impact show. Mickie James rules. The Honor No More stuff has fallen off a cliff. Eddie Edwards is not strong enough to carry that storyline by himself. They needed to have some more star power in that thing, and they just don't. And they keep beating those guys too, so it don't help. But let me know what you guys think. Like, share, and subscribe, man. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.